All right, so we're back. This is officially season 2 of Entrepreneurs in Quarantine. Jordan Toper, you are the first one to be roasted on this
Okay.
show because, season 2 starting off with the same flashy intro as season 1. Jordan Toper, you're someone who I've ran marathons with. You're someone who I've spun with. You're somebody literally who I grew up with right here smack in the West Island. Brother, who are you? What do you do?
So I'm Jordan Toper, owner of Le Rink Arena and Resto Bar. We also own a spin studio. I got all my swag on, so let's spin.
I love it. You look good.
2019, we spent our 1-year anniversary in quarantine. Le Rink, obviously, and then we also have another company, and I say we, I have a partner, Josh Negaborn, that does all this with me. So I'll be speaking on his behalf about everything as well. It's called UPN Advertising, where we manufacture and distribute welder beanies to all the major gas companies.
So you're in 3 completely different spheres. You cannot get into more distinct and divergent industries, but you're a man of many talents, and that's what you do. Tell us about how COVID has literally impacted all 3 verticals, if it has at all.
Right. Okay, well, before we go too far, I figured most people will say welder beanie. What is a welder beanie? So I figured I'd give an example right now and give out a shout to my boy Mario Girardet. This is a welder beanie, which actually kind of looks like PPE, right?
Yeah.
So we actually donated 500 or so pieces to the MUHC and the Jewish General.
Good.
Overstock that we have lying around makes a whole lot of sense to send that to them because they're the ones that are getting us through all this.
Amazing.
So that's one of my companies. It's called UPN Advertising. It's one of my companies that's actually still in operation right now.
Yeah.
The Rink and the Spin are closed.
Completely unaffected.
No, affected. There are not. Basically, about 70% of my business is yearly contracts that I fulfill for major gas companies like Praxair and Air Liquide. So those
and I hear, are those some of your employees in the background? Who was in the background? I heard some yelling.
My daughter Sky, who is still in her pajamas and is watching the Trolls movie for the 3rd time today. And my son Bodhi, who's ready for nap number 2 in about 12 minutes from now.
The high demanding
well.
unionized employees.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So your beanie, these are, just so people understand, these are being worn in gas and oil, construction, kind of all the dirty industries, really.
Exactly. I mean, mainly the welder industry.
Yeah.
It's a last resort for the hair. They're fire retardant hats. They're mostly used also for the companies to promote themselves. They're promotional items. So, as you see, like on the side, there's the company names.
Yeah.
Most of them we make like that. And like I mentioned, the 2 biggest players, we do yearly contracts. So we have a warehouse filled with boxes that we send out monthly quotas. The rest of it's kind of been slowed down for several reasons, that a lot of construction has stopped.
Sure.
And also, a lot of people that do, a lot of the piece workers that work for me, the sewers and stuff, they, it's not really essential right now. Some of them are also older age that it's a little dangerous for them to be outside. And
Sure.
Some of them live in boroughs that are literally being roadblocked to leave.
So now, so that takes us from 1 essential service to 2 that are fun, essential for our health, but not essential for the government. That's Le Spin, where our entire team has come for a great an exercise and kind of workplace training activity. High intensity cycles, and Le Rink that is packed all year round. I couldn't even get a sheet of ice during the year because you guys are packed. Tell us about those 2 businesses, where they lie for you.
Right. So just to put it in perspective, Le Rink and Le Spin are both under the same roof, which is at a building that we purchased, I guess it's 4 years ago at this point, on Montview, that we repurposed to have our ball hockey rinks, our restaurant bar, private gathering rooms, locker rooms, and then extra space that we have a spin studio. And we also have a women's kickboxing studio called 30 Minute Hit that rents from us there as well. That's obviously closed as well. So, I could start with Le Spin or Le Rink, but maybe we'll start with Le Spin right now, which so you all know is a indoor spinning studio, indoor cycling. So we opened about a year ago. April 1st was our official opening. We had a week before of a soft opening where we did a lot of free stuff and had people come check it out. So, you know, it's kind of crazy that we did our 1 year anniversary in quarantine, which was no fun because you know how any business starts where, you know, no one is on fire right from the get-go, right? You have a great idea, things could be great, but there's always, you know, a growing period. There's also the time period for people to find out about you, to get into you. And we were there, you know, like there he is. Your employees right there.
There's the VP and the secretary's on her way. Yeah.
Nice.
Just one second, sweetie. I'm almost done. Okay.
Yeah. So,
yeah,
you know, we were climbing. We started seeing classes filling up all across the board, weekdays, weekends. You know, people were coming, people were enjoying it. We created an incredible community that basically just completely stopped. So, you know, it is what it is. Obviously, the way it's set up, 25 bikes all right next to each other, people sweating, is not an environment that should be open during these times. So I think I believe March 13th or 14th was when we decided, you know, we're closing. And it was at the beginning, it's crazy. At the beginning was all like, you know, like, okay, we're going to be closed this week, you know, and we'll reassess at the end of the week, you know?
Sure.
And quickly it was like, okay, no, another week. Then it was like, okay, a month. Then it was 2. Now it's like.
Now you're celebrating your 13-month anniversary still in quarantine.
Yeah. And I think it might be a little longer, to tell you the truth. And I also think that when this starts back up, there will be a lot of restrictions on places like that.
Sure.
Where, you know, I don't see my studio being open right away when people get back to work.
Sure.
Even when it does reopen, I don't see them allowing us to really run at full capacity. I could see it being half the bikes allowed in the room or stuff like that. You know?
But you're proactive also, and you're probably going to want to take responsible steps to reintegrate that, make sure that people are separated by one bike, you know, one bike's distance, and you've got your own protocols, but obviously you're following, you know, the public regime. Now this is a membership-based business where you have monthly recurrence. You're selling, you know, sessions, 5, 10 packages at a time. What happens? We had an interesting conversation before I pressed the record button. What happens to the clients that are waiting to take their last 3 sessions? What do you do?
So the way it works with any of our packages that are bought is that there is no expiry date on them. Okay. So if you want to come back in a year from now, in 2 years from now, your package is still valid.
Good.
Most of the people that buy from us do either like packages of 5, 10, 20. You know, we do have the monthly unlimiteds, but I'd say 90% of the purchases are the packages.
Sure.
Surprisingly, have not really been reached out by many people about getting refunds for their packages. People have been very sympathetic to our situation, and I think that everyone understands that everyone's kind of in the same boat right now. And you know, I'm shocked all across the board, even with the rink and with everything, all the leagues we run and everything. I'm shocked.
So
you know,
that's interesting. I'm going to stop you right there, because is it because you have a personal, and we all know Ollie, and we all know kind of the instructors you guys are literally a small team. The people that come in are extended members of the family. Is the reaction, do you think, because you have a personal relationship? What's your advice to other businesses that have membership-based businesses? What should you tell them? Because people want to be like, I want to talk like Jordan, because that's just healthy business. How do you get to that point?
Right. So yes, you're absolutely right. Community is everything, and that's what we said from day one, even before we opened. Our whole focus was community, and it was inclusiveness. You know, we didn't want to have the image of a super fit, good-looking guy and girl on a bike sweating it out, you know, with their sports bras on and stuff. You know, like, yes, we're open to everybody, but we wanted to make sure that, you know, you never done a spin class before. Like, you come in, you're comfortable. Someone greets you. Someone explains to you how to set up on a bike. Someone explains to you what shoe size you should wear. Someone explains to you where the locker rooms are. Someone explains to you the products that we have and the packages.
Yeah, this is a judgment-free zone. You're coming in. Yeah. You can be. I mean, you open to. I mean, you do have the good-looking people there. Let's not kid ourselves. Yeah, but it's not the focus, and it's secondary.
Everybody is good looking on a bike. That's the thing. And the best part about it with biking is that nobody knows how hard you're turning it up, you know?
Yeah.
The lights are off, the you know, I mean, it's dark, all the disco lights, everything's happening, you know? So what do we do in these times? We say, you know what, we're closed, but we want to stay engaged, right? Obviously, social media is huge, as we see Instagram Live, instructors of all kinds, spinning, bar, HIIT, yoga, they're all doing free sessions online to stay with the community, right?
So how do you tap into that?
So listen, number one, our studio manager, I'm going to give a shout out to Casey Cooper, obviously, who is
she's
8
great.
months right now and still doing her thing. She's huge with the Instagram, keeps everyone involved, is the face of the studio, and is what keeps the community going. You know, and then we say, you know, how can we keep this happening? You know, how do we, beyond reaching out to people, how can we, you know, keep people engaged and active? Well, we rented our bikes out, right?
Amazing.
Something that I guess all studios have been doing right now. I think we were up there as one of the first. And like I mentioned to you in our previous call before this, we didn't even make an announcement. We didn't put anywhere that renting our bikes contact us. It was some of our clients reached out and said, man, I'm dying. Like, I need a workout. Like, can I get a bike? I need to rent a bike. And we said, yeah, absolutely. We figured out a price for it, a weekly price. And then that person told this person, told that person. 24 hours later, my studio is empty. And people are able to ride, you know what I mean? And they're able to exercise and feel connected to the instructors that they love doing their classes. And you're seeing it posted all over social media, you know? And that's a big part of keeping the normalcy in people's lives, you know, that, you know what, it's Tuesday morning at 9:15. I usually ride with Lauren, you know, I get to do it. And then I get to post my stats, and, you know, nothing changes for that 45 minutes of their lives, you know?
And that's, you know, that's one of the things I've been doing these interviews, you know, I did season 1, this is season 2, whatever that means, doesn't really mean much, but people, you know, entrepreneurs on the show have been resilient in finding ways not of making a quick buck, but keeping the dream and keeping the culture of what they created alive. And that, I mean, for me, that is the case in point, finding a way to stay in people's lives.
Keep people engaged and keep the community tight.
Love that.
And this will bring me to my next point now, which is beyond renting the bikes. We're saying, you know what, there's all these people doing Instagram Live classes or doing Zoom, you know, Zoom classes that they invite people, and, you know, it's great. It keeps people engaged. It's awesome. But at the end of the day, these instructors are people that have mortgages to pay or rent to pay and food to put on the table. And it's only so long that this stuff will be available for free. And you're already starting to see people come up with charging platforms, right?
Yes.
So for us, surprisingly enough, we're like, what are we going to do? So obviously right away, we get bikes in all our instructors' houses, right? And say, you know what, reach out, make classes. We're going to come up for now. Like, we feel awful to charge. We want to keep people engaged, but we understand at some point, you know, you're gonna need to make some money to keep living, you know. So, you know, we did that, but then also out of nowhere, right? So this is something else, is that, like, there's so much content out there, so many emails flying around about, you know, ways to, you know, get loans and get money and how to get through this and whatever, right? So a lot of it is garbage, but some of it is worth reading, right? So I get an email, or my partner Josh gets emails from ZingFit, which is our back-end provider that allows you at Lespin to, you know, buy packages and all that stuff, right? We get an email from them with a podcast, okay? To be honest with you, I'm not a podcast guy. All of a sudden I am. I'm listening to Spittin' Chicklets all the time. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's unreal.
As of today, you're a podcast.
I'm a podcast guy, right? Like, I take my dog for walks now, who's living her best life ever. I now understand why dogs are so excited to go for walks, because they're cooped up in the house all day. It's nice to get out, right? You know, I listen to the podcast, right? And what they emphasize in the podcast, and it was people that are experts in live streaming and that type of stuff, right? So I was like, oh, maybe they'll explain to you, like, best ways to live stream and whatever, which they kind of did, but they really focused more on quality content versus quantity of content. And they also focused on how, yes, it's great that all these Instagram lives are happening and all this Facebook and YouTube stuff is happening to keep people engaged, but the quality is not there. You know,
it's a lot of noise. It's a lot of noise.
There's buffering, there's skipping, there's, you know, and especially with spinning versus yoga or HIIT or bar or Pilates, music is needs to be on point with what's happening, right?
Yes.
So, they said a line that really struck a chord in me, was saying that it's great they're doing all this stuff, but he said it seems to me like everyone is out there sprinting to get things done when really this is a marathon, right? And as
like
you
that.
mentioned, you and I both know about marathons because we ran them together. I think one I pushed you and the other one you pushed me all the way through, but we did it. But
true story.
you can understand that, where it's like, yeah, you could come out the gate and rip it and be ahead of everybody, but you're going to die out halfway through. And unless you come up with the proper measures to do things, sprinting out of the gate is only going to be a short-term fix. So what we decided to do is we said, let's find a way to create quality content, as opposed to someone putting their phone and people watching them and you could barely hear what they're saying versus the music. We said, all right, what's the best way to do this, right? So we said, we'll set up an in-studio feed where there's one bike that's basically dummy-proof, which is all kudos to my partner, Josh, who's incredible with all this stuff. Set up, a proper thing with all the right wires and all the right mixing boards and everything, with the proper lighting and everything, so that when you're doing a class, you are getting a direct feed of the music and the audio at the same time, and getting the lights and a proper experience at the same time, right? Because that's what people will eventually pay for. They're not going to pay for Instagram live videos. They're going to pay.
That's amazing, because I had a great chat with my buddy Chris, who manages sales for everyone from the Canadians to Osheaga, and we were talking about the complete eradication of all giant sports stadiums and everything that's experiential, and how it's so hard to replace that. You can't just have a little box that emits smell and have that experience. It needs to be immersive.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that's, you're tapping into that, the emotions that come with being an immersive experience.
We're trying, and even when things open up again, this is still a platform that people could use.
Yes, sir.
People will still, I'll spend $50 a month to get, it exists. It's not like we're reinventing the wheel,
absolutely.
What's his name? Like all those Tybo videos and all that stuff. Like
Tybo, yeah.
They used to have like a 3 CD, collection that you would do the same 5 things over and over again. Like, it exists. It's about creating quality content and not just throwing garbage out there,
So are you going to be going back to DVDs and doing box sets?
No more box sets. I don't even think that's something you could do anymore. We're basically setting something up that's going to be done through our site, because that was another thing. We said we want people to be engaged with us through our site. I want people to go to my website. I want them to purchase when the time comes, which will still be a while. Like we still haven't even launched our live stream yet, because it's not ready. Like, a lot of the stuff that we ordered is not essential, so it's taking weeks to come in. But it's not a rush. We need to test.
You're patient.
Right? We want people to be coming through our website and purchasing that way, and then going and signing up for a class through the website, and then logging into the class through the website, because that's who we are. We're not Instagram. We're not Facebook. We're LeSpin. Right?
Yeah, you're not catering to the whimsical purchases of people. You want people to actually invest in the process. Exactly. And the people that take time to navigate, inform themselves, and see what you're doing are the ones that are going to be in the most engaged. So I think there is a madness and a philosophy behind getting them off social media onto a traditional platform. I like that. Jordan, tell me about something that has surprised you or appalled you with humans and businesses as we go through COVID.
Right. So surprised me, I kind of mentioned at it before, was the sympathy that everybody's is feeling, right? So, people are not rushing to get refunds. And maybe, at the rink, nobody's saying, I prepaid for 10 sessions, I have 5 left, like, pay me back for 5,
Sure.
I can't say nobody, but very minimal amount of people, right?
Sure.
That's something that surprised me, because I was waiting for the storm, we also run a league called the MBHL, the Montreal Ball Hockey League, that we recently acquired in September. We have 130 teams. Not maybe one team asked for a refund,
Incredible.
We're about to launch our youth league. It was supposed to start 2 weeks ago. All the kids prepaid per kid, like
incredible.
people.
I think that's a testament to your leadership, right? And that people believe you're going to weather the storm, that you're here to stay, and that they believe in you.
Yeah.
I think that really is a testament. How will this change, focusing on Le Rink and Le Spin? You've talked a lot about using technology and that it's here to stay. This is just going to be another vertical and your ability to distribute great content. How else do you think this will change fitness and team sports in general?
Right. So that's a huge hurdle that I see for, especially at Le Rink, right? Like tennis, you go out, you're two people, it's fine. Hockey, team sport, basketball, all that stuff. It's a whole bunch of people in a tight space sweating it out, right? So, we joke about how like we are almost forced to create a new hockey sport where everyone needs to be 2 meters apart from each other. You know what I mean? Like where it's a penalty to encroach in 2 feet. Literally, honestly, I don't know where it's going to go. I do know that the second that we are allowed to be reopened, it's going to be back to business as usual. Sure. Obviously, we don't have much. Like people say, as an entrepreneur and as a business owner, like I'm used to being so busy and now I have so much time, right? Like, and so what am I doing with my time? I'm trying to create ways to make it better,
Sure.
So,
sure.
That's what we're trying to do. But at Le Rink, like we only have so much more time, like we're jammed up with parties and rentals and groups and tournaments. And it's wild that like these 2 months, like the amount of events and tournaments and birthday parties and stuff that like didn't happen, like it's crazy. And
it's crazy, yeah.
And it started with, all right,
what I've seen you going. I mean, I had my kid's birthday party there, and one of the things that we spoke about before is that you've jumped on board into what I coined the Quarantine 360 project, which is essentially any certificates that are purchased through us, 20% of the proceeds of any gift certificate, whether it's towards Le Spin or Le Rink for an hourly rental or even a birthday party. Yeah. I recommend every parent. It would be a sin for a Montreal family to grow up in Montreal and not have a birthday party on the rink, as far as I'm concerned. It should be an obligation. Yeah. Any $100 gift certificate that's purchased, 20% will go back towards helping the Lakeshore through BC 360, and that's one of the initiatives that you're literally spearheading. You're the first one that we're announcing today. So
you're word, obviously, and there's no reason for anybody not to take part in this. It's giving back to a very worthy cause. And it's also, it's gaining visibility to your company at the same time. You know what I mean?
It is. Look, and I think that we're bringing value. People are supporting you. People are supporting the hospitals that are on the front line and the community workers that are there. And it's a win-win for everybody. So thank you, brother. You're a community-based guy.
Yeah.
And we love you. We love you for it, man.
I do. My pleasure. So something else I wanted to touch on that I wrote a couple notes on. I always question if there's actually anything going down on the papers that you're writing on over here. Show me, is there actually writing on that paper, or are you just
That's a good question. So I had some notes, but you'll notice that my notes turned into a doodle pretty quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll notice that. Okay. There were some notes on the previous one over here, but I can't read them. So it's completely useless.
Try to read this. Yeah, exactly.
Thanks for calling me out, bro.
Yeah, I had to. So what I wanted to mention is, so like another thing that happened with a lot of these small businesses is that employees were laid off, right?
Yeah.
I literally felt like Donald Trump, just you're fired. You know what I mean? But like, I've never seen a time where people were actually happy to be laid off. Sure. Because if there's no work for them, to go on EI is the only option they have, right?
Sure.
So it was welcomed by every single one of my employees. We got ROEs out to everybody right away. Explained, like some people didn't even know it was an option for them. Like I have a lot of younger employees, right? So I said, listen, I want to help you, but I can't, there's nothing for you to do right now. So I'll issue an ROE, go ahead, do your thing. And as soon as this is over, you're right back in the saddle here. You know what I mean?
Sure. Now you needed to address it transparently and proactively, because if you don't, people are going to wonder, like, what do you have up your sleeve? So I think one of the things that keeps coming up is being transparent, being honest and vulnerable, that we're not going to make it if I keep you on the payroll just for my ego, because I don't want to, let you go. Yeah. We're all going to pay the price. And so this is a collective thing, man. So,
and between all my employees of the Rink, the Spin, we're all still in touch. We all still send little messages with jokes that we would say to each other on a Wednesday, or You know,
Sure.
like it's try to make it feel normal again, you know, like checking in on everyone, making sure everyone's okay. And it's the same thing with my clients, you know, like, you know, I'm getting messages and emails from people like, you know, think of a crazy thing, something I was surprised with. One group that plays at the rink asked all their players to prepay for the season. And every week, the guy who runs it sends an e-transfer. The first week they didn't play, he wrote me an email saying that he sent an email to all of his guys asking them if they wanted their money back or if they wanted to donate it to the rink. And it was unanimous that they all said, you know what, give the money to the rink. I didn't take it in the end, but I said the gesture is I'm amazed. You know what I mean? That like somebody would go, you know, and what attributes to that is that me having a personal connection with that guy, right? Like every week I see the guy and say, what's up? You know, what's up, Phil? Phil Hamley. I could shout him out, right? What's up, Phil? Like, how are you? How's everything? Whatever. Like, if that connection wasn't there, chances are no email would have been sent to me. You know what I mean?
You got it.
That's everything. It's the connection you have with people. It's the face to the name. It's the community. That's especially with the sports related businesses that I'm running. It's everything.
Brother, thank you for your time. I look forward to catching up with you, having a nice single malt at the bar when I'm allowed to rub shoulders with you, bro.
And when it's not Pesach anymore. It's not
Pesach.
For
But it's not Pesach. I have a feeling we're not going to be out of our houses before Pesach, so
of course,
that's pretty safe.
On that note, wish you a Chag Sameach and a late happy birthday, but I did reach out to you on your birthday.
Appreciate that.
How was your birthday?
It was nice, man. A lot of, you know, the kids, you know, made some homemade cards. It was, you know, had a Zoom, a terribly sung Zoom birthday song by a bunch of people. It was a good time.
We had a quarantine birthday here as well, actually. My daughter on the 5th was her birthday. And whatever, she got presents and she had cake. So for a 3-year-old, it's a success, you know?
Yeah, it is a success.
And I think my wife's birthday at the end of the month is going to be a Zoom birthday, and my neighbor is going to be a Zoom birthday. And
just don't do like that woman in Beaconsfield and do a parade outside of her house, because she almost got fined $1,500 for having people drive by her house in parade fashion.
Yeah, I heard. He's getting outside for 15 runs.
I'm getting some good. My run time is getting a little better. I'm going to share my stats with you a little, maybe after the podcast.
That's it, man. You gotta make sure that you don't hit that quarantine 15, right?
Jordan Tober, be good, man. Thanks for your time.
Love you, buddy. Ciao.
Ciao, brother.